When you get a job offer, what's the first thing you look at? Let's be honest, it's the salary, right? But what if I told you there's a huge part of your compensation that you might be completely overlooking? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on employee benefits, that crucial and, yeah, often confusing world that exists beyond your paycheck. Let's dive in. So let's start with this number, 30%. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, on average, for every dollar an employer spends on you, almost 30 cents of that goes toward your benefits. Think about that. That is a massive chunk of your total compensation. It's not just some little extra perk, it's a fundamental part of your financial life. And that is exactly why this is so important. This is the part of your pay that doesn't show up in your weekly paycheck, but believe me, it has a huge impact on your health, your future, and your overall financial well-being. Getting a handle on this stuff, it's absolutely non-negotiable.
All right, so here's our game plan. We'll start with the why behind benefits, then cover the ones required by law. After that, we'll explore all the optional perks, do a deep dive into health and retirement, and finally, look at the strategy from the company's side of the table.
Okay, first up, let's really get into why benefits have become such a big deal. Why do companies even offer them, and how do they become such a critical piece of the whole employment puzzle?
So what are we even talking about here? At its core, the definition is pretty simple. Employee benefits are basically all the extra goodies you get on top of your salary. We're talking about everything from health insurance and retirement plans to your paid vacation days and sick leave. It's the whole shebang.
And you know, this quote from a case study on Vanderbilt University Medical Center, it really says it all. In a super competitive job market, a great benefits package isn't just nice to have, it's a company's secret weapon to attract and, maybe even more importantly, keep the best people.
And this isn't some new trend. The importance of benefits has absolutely exploded over time. If you look back to 1955, there were only about 15% of total pay. Fast forward to 2015, and that number has more than doubled. The takeaway here is that this hidden part of your paycheck has become more and more valuable over the decades.
All right, let's move on to the foundation. Before any company can start offering cool perks like gym memberships or free snacks, they have to cover the absolute basics. There's a core set of benefits that are actually required by law. These are pretty much the big four. You've got Social Security for retirement, unemployment insurance in case you lose your job, workers' comp if you get hurt at work, and the Family and Medical Leave Act, or FMLA. Just think of these as the fundamental safety net for pretty much every worker in the country. Okay, so once that legal foundation is set, we get to the really interesting part, the optional benefits. This is where companies get to be creative and really compete for talent. I like to think of it as a giant buffet, where employers pick and choose what they think you'll want most. And here's a look at what's usually on that buffet for full-time workers. No surprise here. Paid leave, medical care, and retirement plans are the big ones. You can see that more than 70% of workers have access to them. Life insurance is another really common one. Let's just talk about paid leave for a second. This is your vacation days, holidays, and sick time all rolled into one. And here's a pretty wild point of comparison. In the US, the average is about 11 paid vacation days. But in many European countries, the law requires 25 or even 30 days off. It really shows you the difference in work culture. Now let's zoom in on the two categories that, let's be real, usually have the biggest direct impact on your bank account, your health and your long-term wealth. When it comes to health insurance, you're most often going to run into these two, HMOs and PPOs. The easiest way to think about it is control versus cost. An HMO usually costs you less in premiums, but it keeps you inside a specific network of doctors. A PPO gives you way more freedom to choose your doctors, even out of network, but you're probably going to pay more for that flexibility. For retirement, the world has done a complete 180. We used to have defined benefit plans, pensions, where your company guaranteed you a paycheck for life. The risk was all on them. Now, the standard is the defined contribution plan, like a 401k. The company puts some money in, but you, the employee, are the one taking on all the investment risk. What you end up with depends on how well those investments do. And this chart right here really drives home why those private retirement plans are so incredibly important. Look at that. Social Security makes up half of the income for retirees, but it was never meant to be the only source. That means employer plans like 401ks are absolutely essential if you want to secure retirement.
Now, let's talk about one of the most misunderstood ideas in retirement plans, vesting. It sounds complicated, but it's really not. The money you put in your 401k is always yours, 100%. But the money your employer contributes, well, you have to earn the right to keep that. And that's vesting. Some companies use cliff vesting, where, boom, you own all of it after 3 years. Others use graded vesting, where you earn it little by little. It's a super important detail to look for in your plan.
Okay, let's head into our final section and flip the script a bit. How does this all look from the other side? How do companies actually decide what to offer you? Because trust me, it's not random. It's a very careful strategy.
So what really goes into that decision? Why does one company offer unlimited vacation while another one has an amazing 401k match? It all comes down to a really tricky balancing act.
Here are the main factors they're juggling. It all starts with the company's goals and, of course, their budget. They also have to think about what their employees actually want. A younger team might care more about flexibility, while an older workforce might be focused on healthcare. Then you have to layer on all the legal rules, tax stuff, and the pure cost of every single benefit.
But you know what? Maybe the most important point is this one right here. A company can have the best benefits in the world, but if their employees don't get it, if they don't understand how to use them, they're basically worthless. Good communication is the key to getting a real return on that 30% investment they're making.
And that brings us right to our final thought. As the whole world of work is changing, with remote jobs and flex schedules becoming normal, what does the perfect benefits package even look like anymore? Is it more time off, better mental health support, something totally different? The answer is always changing, which makes it more important than ever to really understand what's being put on the table.